listening to the Bulldog Hour, getting you inside the Wilson football program with weekly game previews, recaps, highlights, and interviews. Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Bulldog Hour's 4th season. I am one of your hosts, Joe Mays, and sitting next to me, my co-host, Justin Raffoff.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to be back here. And when I saw you kind of, I guess the caption or the post you put out saying the season kicks off 2 months from today.
Yep.
So we'll be approaching halftime probably.
Yeah, think about that.
Or at halftime. Hopefully we're coming out of halftime.
I was going to say, we're probably getting ready to start the second half.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. 2 months doesn't sound like a whole lot of a long time. I mean, there's a lot that has to take place over the next 2 months. But it's kind of interesting that, 2 months from tonight is kickoff. Wow.
Yeah, it's time. I'm ready.
I know you are.
June 21st, when it became summer, I was like, all right, football season.
You hit ready pretty much
I hit ready.
As soon as the NFL draft is over.
Right.
And it's not the same as it used to be when you used to have to do all that coverage for the NFL draft. But a little bit now, after the draft, you are in full on ready for high school football mode. Yeah,
well, last year, if you remember, literally the day after the loss to Township in the playoffs, I had the schedule for next year.
Yeah.
That I just kind of floated an email towards the athletic director, Drew Kaufman. It was just like, hey, can you clarify some things? I'm just trying to figure out what's going on for next year, see if I have this down right. He just sent me the schedule. And I was like, thank you.
Perfect.
So, yeah, but it was great, though, because, the next day, I think we were doing our season wrap-up.
Yeah.
And we were able to exclusively announce what the schedule was.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure all the coaches knew what the schedule was completely.
I am sure they didn't.
I know Doug knew.
Just from the conversations we generally have with them, I am sure not all of them know. They know lots of stuff. They tell us, lots of cool things, some of which we get to talk about. But there is no way that every one of them knew the schedule for next year, a day after the season. Not a chance.
They probably didn't care.
I was going to get into that part, but yeah.
There's so much other stuff they have to do outside of football that it probably wasn't at the top of their mind. But, I was
I'm sure life comes at you fast when you're one of those coaches after the season ends.
Oh, yeah. Is it back to reality, or is football the reality and then everything outside of it is...
Let's be honest. It's back to reality.
So, it's kind of going to be a relaxed, laid-back show because there's nothing significant or major or impactful. Right. It's all kind of just things that have happened in the last 2 months. Our last show was April 22nd. It was right before the NFL draft, which we'll talk about a little bit. We also had a couple events this week featuring the program. One of them was an extracurricular kind of a fun thing, a fundraiser. Another one was really our first look at the 2018 Bulldogs to some effect, because the 7-on-7s, it's tough to gauge really where your team is at. Right. But you can see aspects of the squad coming together. And it being the summer, not everyone is there. So, you can't completely be incredibly excited or incredibly deflated on this one performance. I don't know if anyone out there was able to come to the Wilson High School campus this past Thursday, but the Bulldogs hosted 11 or 12 other teams throughout the grass and turf fields surrounding the high school and the lower house. And Wilson played a few teams. I have some pictures. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But just what we always do here is just to get kind of the announcements or the house cleaning out of the way at the beginning. And most of that stuff revolves around how you can follow us, how you can contact us, how you can support us, and things like that. So first up is our sponsors. We always want to thank them, those that have helped us foot the bill for some of the costs around here. my dad at May's Sandwich Shop, Andy Herr, Matt Cruz, who already spoke to me and said that he was going to be re-upping his contribution this season, and our annual anonymous donor as well. Right. So, it's great to have the support from so many people in the community, but we're always looking for more, and whether it's monetary or otherwise, there's plenty of ways you can help, and one of them is Justin's favorite thing to say.
Yeah, like and share, right?
Yeah,
help spread the word.
Just spread the word. Just get it out there. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. That's the main account. That's the show account. Everything. There are ways for you to help besides in-kind donations. We also have sponsorship and advertising opportunities, which are more necessary as the actual season approaches. And I'm sure we'll touch on that in early August. And I'll be sending out emails to past people that have helped us in the next month or so. And be sure to check out our website. Getting traffic there can always help us maybe find some sponsors and advertising on the website. Our next live show will be Sunday, August 5th. We're having a show that evening, getting ready for the season. That's kind of a tentative date. That's the hope. It will be in early August at some point. That's kind of what I have penciled in at the moment, but it requires me and Justin to get interviews done because that's going to be the interview show. So, about 6 weeks from now.
That's closing in. When you talk about 2 months till kickoff, and then that is obviously less than 2 months away, August 5th, and then I think about, your and my schedule between now and then, yeah, we kind of need to get a plan together for that, don't we?
Yeah. It's something that we have to talk about, especially because the coaches are on vacations as well. I know Coach Doms is going to Jamaica at the end of July. Yeah. They'll have team camp in July. And, within the first 10 days of August, I'd like to have 1 or 2 shows with interviews from the coaches and interviews with the senior players. We usually grab a handful of senior players to talk to as well. So all that is going to be happening in the next 6 weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy, but it's the best. It's the best. So let's move on to some of our main topics now, and that is recapping some of the events that have happened the last 2 months. First up, what happened right after the first episode of this 4th season was the NFL draft, and former Wilson football player Junior Joseph was draft eligible this year. He entered the pool coming out of UConn, where he had a very successful career. We talked about it a lot on the previous show 2 months ago. He didn't get drafted by any of the teams in the 7 rounds of the draft, but he did become a priority free agent signing, an undrafted signing by the Cincinnati Bengals. And he announced that on Instagram within probably 15 minutes of the draft concluding.
He had probably gotten that call, like saying, look, if you're not taken, we have an offer for you. So,
yeah. And if you're watching the show here, you can see I have some pictures from one of his first rookie mini camps this spring that he had with the Bengals, currently sporting jersey 48. And we'll be tracking his progress through the off season, which there's about probably another month or so of probably no news until training camps get underway. Probably about a month.
Yeah, right now, honestly, as a rookie, a rookie free agent, no news is good news right now. Hang around there, get into training camp, and then make a name for yourself. So good luck to Junior.
Yeah, absolutely, and we look forward to his attempt to make the Bengals as an undrafted free agent, which the Bengals are apt to do. They're not one. They're a team that by the book. If you're one of the best players, they're gonna keep you around. So if he doesn't latch on with the Bengals, the game day roster, hopefully he can at least catch on with the developmental squad, that practice squad, and start to make a name for himself.
Stick around there. You start to get on some tape in those preseason games, maybe even like special teams roles, things like that. Because a lot of times, especially when some of those undrafted guys are out there, 3rd and 4th quarters of those preseason games, or in those scrimmages, or those combined practices and things like that. Coaches for both teams are kind of watching everybody because they know. They want to know the ins and outs of everybody's rosters and kind of see who all is there to be, kind of picked from and things like that. So
good luck, Joseph. We'll be watching, we'll be waiting, and I'll try to report as much as I can as I hear it from the Cincinnati Bengals. Up next, at the end of May, Memorial Day weekend, was the 2018 Tri-County All-Star Game, which was held at Manheim Central. It's sponsored and coordinated by the Manheim Touchdown Club. One of the interesting things that happened that I wasn't expecting until the event came is I finally got to meet Mike Williams in person.
Hey, there you go.
So, a little bit of
the man, the myth, the legend
Central,
in Manheim
Southeastern,
Central.
Pennsylvania high school football legend. He was very nice, very cordial, very receptive to me being there and allowing me on the sidelines to take pictures. And so I got to watch 3 of our departing Bulldogs seniors ending their career one last time, putting on the Bulldog helmets, which was Wyatt Schonauer, Trevor Hatley, and Chris Price. They all represented the Bulldogs at the game, again, at the end of May. And Chris Price actually was one of the South Squad captains.
Oh, wow.
They all got to play a decent amount. I know Trevor didn't get to practice as much because lacrosse was still going on during that time, but he still got a lot of meaningful playing time. And Wyatt and Chris certainly were out there often. And one of my favorites was when they both were starting on the offensive line and they were both the bookends. And left and right tackle were the Bulldogs. Now Trevor played linebacker on defense. He was also a long snapper. And Chris Price played a lot at defensive end as well. Now South lost to the North when all was said and done. I think it was like 48-22 or something like that. But it was a fun game, interesting all around. A lot more hype from the players than I expected in an All-Star game, which was kind of cool to see. They were having fun.
Weren't just going through the motions.
No. They were having fun, and it was. It's always interesting to see some of the players that trade the helmet stickers and see what amalgamation. Yeah, you can kind of see it. I don't know if you can see it on those pictures I have up right now. Or right here, you can see a Bulldog on the back of the running back's helmet, and Trevor actually has on the other side. I'm not sure I have a picture of it. I don't know if it was on the first slide or not. No, I don't think you can see it.
I can see there's
you
some
can see
other
there's a
players there.
Donegal D right there. Yeah. But Trevor actually had I think it was Conestoga Valley Bucks on the side of his helmet. So I don't think Chris or Wyatt had, but there were Bulldogs that went around. I think that the coaches send them with extras.
That's cool.
So it's always a good time. I remember that was more interesting in the local one when they used to have the Berks one, because you'd have like Mifflin helmets with Bulldogs on it, and that's quite the interesting sight when you see things like that. So, but yeah, a very very good game, and it was awesome to see the 3 of them suit up one last time, sporting their red and white Wilson colors on a high school football field. Then the more recent event that happened, I alluded to at the top of the show, was the 7-on-7 that Wilson hosted, which they do every year, and they have done for many years. It's always right at the beginning of June. There was actually delayed a week this year because of all the school closings throughout the year. Coach Doms was worried that some schools might only be ending the beginning of last week.
There are a bunch of schools that had school into last week. Yeah.
So they delayed it to this past Thursday, which was June 21st. And like I said, there were about 11 or 12 teams there. Wilson Varsity and Wilson JV each had an opponent in all 4 sessions. In the first session, the Wilson 1s played North Penn, and the 2s played against Marion. That was Marian, not Merion. Then in the second session, the varsity played Lebanon, and the JV played Fleetwood. After they broke for lunch and came back, Wilson then took on Exeter, while the JV Bulldogs played Cocalico. Unfortunately, I missed the 4th session, but I did hear that the varsity played Reading.
Okay.
I don't know who the JV played. I didn't get to pay as much attention to them. Since they're both playing at the same time, it's tough to grab photos and video from each. But I did take photos of the first 2 sessions, and then I took a video of the 3rd session against Exeter, and that one was on Gursky. The team started out on at Mack Stadium, Bulldog Field, against North Penn, And that was probably the best team that Wilson faced was right at the beginning against North Penn. I mean, they're historically a very strong team, and I don't think it'll be any different. This year they have a very strong, very quick, mobile quarterback that'll be dangerous. But Wilson matched up against them pretty well.
They're in the same district as Coatesville, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, like you said, North Penn is usually right there. They've had some crazy games in districts, I think last year maybe. But, they're right there. But I know Coatesville, there's a lot expected of them as well. So some stiff competition from District 1. But, it's good to get some of that. North Penn's not on the schedule. You talked about the schedule earlier. North Penn's not there. So it's good to go against some of those top-level teams, even in a June 7-on-7, like you said before, that you kind of just have to take it for what it's worth. It's just some reps from players against other players. You're not going against your own guys,
yep.
Which can be good, especially after some of the spring football, getting these guys into some kind of rhythm, getting ready for the true summer workouts, which can be a little bit grueling, and then you get into your practices right before the season. So it's kind of a nice little transition between, I know it doesn't always work out, but that end of spring, practice to basically kind of transition into your full-on summer mode.
Yeah, and you mentioned Coatesville being in the same conference or division as North Penn. Wilson is actually going to see Coatesville in a 7-on-7 just between the two squads, not at like a big, tournament or round robin or whatever. And I had heard that they wanted to do two, kind of like a home and home type thing. Then Coach Doms had said they were only doing one, and it was at Coatesville. But then I talked to some of the kids on Thursday at the 7-on-7, and they said they were hosting Coatesville this coming Friday. And so I'm a little confused as to the schedule, but Wilson is playing Coatesville in a 7-on-7
is
this
Coach
summer.
Contafio still the quarterback coach there?
Yes, he is.
I thought so.
And I don't know if Wilson's hosting, if Coatesville's hosting, if they're both going to host.
They have the stud quarterback, right?
Yeah, Ricky
Is he a senior this year?
No, he's a junior, I believe.
Oh my gosh, I feel like
He
I've
started
asked
as a
that every
freshman.
year.
He started as a freshman.
Yeah, I feel like the last 2
Maybe
years,
he
though,
is.
I've said, oh, he's a senior, right? And you've said, no, he's not.
I thought he was a junior, but I could be completely wrong on that. I'm not as up on the Coatesville football program.
Me either, obviously. But I just know they have a kid who's the coach's son, I believe, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And he's really good. They are really good. No idea what year he is, but
Wilson is also, I was told, playing at Harrisburg in a 7-on-7.
Okay.
So they're going to have a lot of experience in some big contenders, especially in 7-on-7.
But it's good.
Which limits your contact and ability that some teams need to take advantage of some of the quicker speed that, like, Coatesville is loaded. Coatesville is absolutely loaded. So being able to see what Wilson can do against them should be a good indicator.
They went toe-to-toe with St. Joe's Prep last year.
Yeah.
They
were winning for a while.
Yeah. They were up.
They just couldn't hold on.
And they couldn't hold on.
Yeah.
But they were scoring and holding right toe-to-toe with St. Joe's Prep. It's that, you know what, though, like we kind of mentioned with lots of things, it's good. You don't need to go and have a 7-on-7, extra 7-on-7s with teams where you're not really going to be able to gain much from it. No, this is absolutely the time you want to push yourselves. You want to go against those teams that everybody's talking about from District 1.
Yep.
You want to go against Harrisburg, who is going to run out a solid, fast team every year.
Oh, so. And guess what? If you come out of District 3, who are you going to play in the state Final Four?
Now we're playing in the East. We're going to play that District 1 squad.
Coatesville, North Penn, one of the Downing towns, Springford.
Yeah.
So we're
not Parkland.
No,
we got shifted out west.
Also out west. Yeah. We've talked about that before, but so
sorry, not sorry, Parkland.
So back to finish up the 7-on-7. Coach Palm was unable to attend the 7-on-7, so Coach Doms called in a ringer to help out with the quarterback position. Chad Henney was in the area in between workouts with the Kansas City Chiefs, and Coach Doms called him up, so he was able to work with the quarterbacks in the offense during all 4 sessions throughout the day. And Chad's going to pop up here again in the next event that we're going to talk about, which was the golf tournament. So the coaches have been running a golf tournament for 20 years now. If you can believe it, it started in the late 90s. This was the 20th annual Wilson Football Bulldog Golf tournament. It was held at Manor Golf Club, which I believe they've done it there, if not every year, almost every year, I believe.
Yeah, I would imagine.
The ones I can remember. Coach Doms, I believe, is a regular at the course.
Yeah, yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense. And I reached out to Cheryl Heckman to see if I could take some pictures of the event, and she gave me a cart and sent me on my way.
They set you up.
So I was driving around. A lot of people asked why I wasn't playing, and I said, "You don't want me."
It's because you hate fun. That's
yeah,
why.
I do. I don't like fun,
No.
and I'm also awful at golf.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy taking photos.
Well,
so
maybe I can get you to play next year. 'Cause I missed it this year.
you did miss it.
I
Yeah,
played
actually,
the last few years.
I had people ask me where you were.
No.
Like, I think Justin's played in this before.
Yeah,
I
I played
said-
the last few years, and it's a blast. It's a lot of fun, and it goes to help the football, program. Yeah, it didn't work out this year. Like you said, things got a little shifted around. Usually, in my recollection, it's it's a week earlier, the Friday after the 7-on-7. But the 7-on-7 got moved. I think this got moved too. Just kind of matches up well with that.
I know the 7-on-7 did definitely. I don't know if it also.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It didn't work out with the family schedule this year, which is probably a good thing because if it was the week before, I probably would have tried to go, and we were driving through the night to Florida that night, so that would have been a terrible idea, and I probably would have tried to do it anyway. So it probably saved me from myself, so that's good. But it is a lot of fun, so I hope to be back out there next year, assuming they have it next year. And I'll start making the sell now to see if I can get Joey out there too.
I'll be there. Just may not be golfing.
Dude,
I won't be golfing. You don't want me golfing, even in a scramble.
I do want you golfing. It'll be fun. You've seen me hit the ball. I don't hit it that well.
It was a lot of fun. They had the standard, the longest drive and things like that. But they had a cool one on. I'm trying to remember what hole it was. I think it was 5.
Yeah, with the football.
With the football,
that's
where
a cool
you could
one.
pay. You got to hit your drive, but then you could pay $5, and if you could hit the football, which was I think around 100 yards, about. If you could hit the football, and it didn't have to be directed, it could be a bounce, and Brandon Doms was running it, and he said if you got it between the legs holding up the football, he'd count that too.
Oh man!
And you got to take the ball all 8 feet away from the hole.
Yeah.
And I think that would be an eagle then if you would hit.
Yeah, you'd have an eagle shot.
Yeah. So I don't think anyone hit. People played because I took a lot of pictures of people at that hole and attempting it. One of the first ones, I believe, actually Ernie Magalotti skipped over it, bounced over it. Yeah, that may have been one of the closest of the day. I don't know. I wasn't at the hole number 5 the entire time, but it was fun to see the guys attempt to do that. They had, I think it was 27 foursomes or so, so a nice turnout. Very fun group, and again, it was held at Manor Golf Club, and a majority of the coaches were there. And I believe this is Matt Bender's event. Coach Bender organizes and runs this.
Yeah, I know he gets a lot of the stuff together for this.
And Chad Henney was there. He was golfing. He had a foursome. It was a great event. I posted on the Facebook page, I think Twitter and Instagram. I went to every hole and took pictures of all the hole sponsors to make sure we spread the word and thank them for continuing to support the program. So be sure to check those out. Again, you can follow at Wilson Bulldogs or at Wilson Bulldogs Football on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can find all of the pictures from the Tri-County All-Star Game, the 7-on-7, the golf tournament, and then everything else related to Wilson football on the Wilson Bulldogs Football Facebook page. Just click on the albums. So it was a great time. It's the first one I've been to ever because I was out of the area for a while. I was too young to go near the beginning of this, and I never really had the time to get there because of it being a Friday afternoon.
I know. I've always thrown it out there. Not always. I've thrown it out there, but I know it's also I kind of feel like a jerk asking hey, can you come on this Friday afternoon when I know you're working to come to this football golf tournament? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it's one of those. But I send it usually anyway. But yeah,
Of course.
We'll see next year. Put it on the calendar when it's on the calendar.
Oh, it'll be on the calendar.
I know.
Just telling you.
Well, see, that's the thing. You already are going to make the time to go out there. So now you just got to bring a couple clubs.
So
I'll work on it.
Well, yeah. Well, I do want to point out here because Mr. Corey Greth is watching here, and he was a part of the Reading Raptors championship. MIFL, I believe, is. Oh, he wrote it here. Yeah, I think I got it. Reading Raptors won the Indoor Football League championship again, 4 in a row.
Hey, there we go.
4 in a row. He posted some pictures of that event. He wanted me to go, and I wanted to go because I haven't been to an Indoor Football League game in a long time, since Reading Express. So it's been a number of years. But I had to work yesterday, and it was yesterday. So, but. Yeah, congratulations to Corey and his teammates and local football team winning another championship 4 in a row. It's quite the feat. So congratulations to Corey and the rest of the Raptors, and start for the drive for 5.
Hey, there you go.
Can start, I'm sure, in the coming months, especially once the fall rolls around. So congratulations to the Reading Raptors. All right, so that was kind of a rundown of some of the recent stuff that happened in the spring and very, very early summer here, just a few days into summer. We do want to remind you of a few other things that are happening with the Wilson football program. Besides the golf tournament fundraiser, we've also running some fundraisers through the Wilson Football Tradition Club. One of the big ones right now are video sales. I've been slowly making my way through the VHS archive, and I actually have every single game that the school has or the team has on tape from 1945 through 2003 completely done.
Wow.
It's a lot of games. And you can see here a sample of the 1999 season on DVD. Each DVD fits 2 games, so the 99 season that had 13 is over 7 DVDs. I just did the 1989 season, which was 8 DVDs, 15 games. And we also have them available on USB drive. Now, the USB drive is nice because, one, it's cheaper cost to you. Mm-hmm. Also, I can send it to you almost the same day that you order it because I just have to copy some stuff to a drive. The DVDs are tough because I got to do a custom case for it. I got to burn them to the disc. I got to make that disc image. So it takes a little bit more time. I usually say the DVDs, you got to give me at least 10 days, if not 2 weeks, to get all that stuff together. Now, once I have the season you're ordering already completed from a previous order, it's a little easier. But all of them right now are on demand, and it is demanding for sure. But there you can see the pricing structure. Again, this pricing here is for DVDs. We can do them by game, but once you get past 3 games, we say just might as well take the entire season. For most seasons, that's 10 games. Some of the earlier seasons, especially 40s through even parts of the 70s, they didn't have every game, and some of the seasons only have 6, 7, or 8. But you'll get everything that the team had. I'm not holding out on you. I wish I had every game from every season, but it's just not in the cards, whether it was the original 8mm film to the VHS archive now to, we kind of are skipping DVD because I just have a 4 terabyte hard drive that I'm backing everything up on. So that's one of the fundraisers. And if you want to take a look, I know we showed this the last time, but this was super cool. So if you didn't catch it on the Facebook page or on the YouTube page, which doesn't get hyped up pretty much at all, they actually have the original 1945 game on DVD, well, on VHS and now on digital, and it's actually in color, which is kind of the biggest. Amazing. Like it's crazy to me that this is in color, but it is. And we watched this on the last show, and we it's just a few minutes long. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but it's so cool to see literally the first game in Wilson history. There's video of they're getting on a bus that says Spring Township School District on it.
And there's nothing there across from the school.
And they were not in their black and orange uniforms from the Gablesville Owls. to take on the Reading JVs at, I believe, George Field.
It's got to be George Field. With the train going by, it's got to be.
And there's the coin toss. No, that is not us, the red and white. We are in the orange and black. And kickoff, and I don't know if we'll get to it here, but you can see Wilson ends up winning this game 7-0. And it was actually Lippincott to Welder on the touchdown pass, if you can believe it. And if you're following Wilson football, you know the name Lippincott because Mr. Lippincott is still on the sidelines at Wilson football games, going strong in his 90s.
Didn't you say, like, someone told you, or I think, that was the first time he got to see it?
Yeah, he didn't. I'm not sure if he knew it existed, but he had never seen it. I talked to him, I think actually the weekend after I converted this, cleaned it up, and posted it. I had asked him if he had seen it, and he had never seen it before.
That's really cool.
Yeah, he got to see it. It was really cool, and I actually talked to, I think that same weekend, Bob Mitzel, who was played in late 40s and early 50s, and he didn't. I don't even think he knew that the game film existed from those seasons, and it does.
Yeah.
Now 45 only has this game, and I don't know that I have any or many from 46 or 47. It starts to pick up in the late 40s and throughout the 50s. And, yep, that's a touchdown right there. There it was. Kick is good, 7-0, and that's the way it would stand. So, yeah, really, really cool stuff. I'm very excited to
stellar
have
defense
this.
Performance for Wilson again. Right?
Yeah. So, yeah, very cool. I really enjoy that. I'm so glad that we have that. I wish we had every game, but having that first one is such a cool
really
thing.
cool.
It's really cool. So the next thing on our list here is to touch on the merger, and we just want to update everyone and say it's been completely tabled, basically off the table for the foreseeable future. I don't think they are going to talk about it much, if at all, over the next 2 or 3 years. It could come up again down the road, but the LL League, which is in the driver's seat, basically said thanks but no thanks.
Yeah.
And we'll come back to it maybe in the future.
And we kind of talked about this before. You know, we would love for this to happen. You and I personally. I'm not speaking for Wilson necessarily, but like me, like I think it would be awesome. But you and I both kind of said the thing we were most worried about before is do the LL teams feel the need to do it? When we look at the Berks teams, there's a huge upside for lots of Berks teams. Even if you factor in travel, a lot of Berks teams, because of the the way the divisions are set up and everything, they really are struggling to fill in their schedules. Some of them only have 5 league games, and they're looking at 5 non-league. You know, It's just crazy amounts of non-league games in the middle of the season. You're trying to get all that together. It's really tough for a lot of the Berks Football League teams. LL League teams aren't necessarily at this time in mass facing those same problems. I think with the new alignment, I think the Section 3 teams, or did they go to 4 sections?
Well,
but basically 9 of their games are league games.
Yeah.
Or 8 are, and there's the crossover game or something like. Actually, I don't think Section 3 has crossover games. I think they have 9 league games and 1 non-league game. So they're only scheduling 1 non-league game because I think there's 10 teams in Section 3 now. So the needs are different right now. The thing to watch from my take would be to see if LL teams start having trouble filling their schedules. If that becomes an issue,
then
now all of a sudden you're going to see something where it may benefit both a little bit more than it does right now.
So what I was told or have heard was that the big schools, 6A, wanted it. The small schools, 1, 2, and 3A, wanted it. But it was the 4 and 5As that said no. Because they're going to, and they were also insisting for some reason on making it 5 divisions, which would have eliminated Mifflin and Exeter from the big boy section. It would have dropped them to Manheim Central section.
So
and there's a lot of pull there from the Barons in the LL League.
Oh, yeah.
And those schools in 4 and 5A didn't want to bring in the quality opponents in Mifflin, Exeter, and Berks Catholic have to be in Section 2 if 1 is for the biggest ones, if they go mostly by enrollment, sections 2 and 3 we're going to have, even if they're playing up, Berks Catholic, maybe why missing Mifflin and Exeter. And now you're adding those into an already really competitive, not only LL
Oh my
league,
gosh! You look at LL Section 2 every
District
year.
3 playoffs.
Right, LL Section 2 is crazy every year. It's like a 3 or 4-way race sometimes. Between some of those schools, it's pretty intense. I would love for it to happen. I understand if I'm one of those currently right now Section 2 LL schools, I'm saying, yeah, no thanks. You know what I mean? Like, Manheim Central, not every year, but, they're looking to compete for district titles every year. The last thing they want to do is risk playing away games in districts now.
Yeah.
They've got some of those other squads there. Yeah, I don't necessarily blame them. It's unfortunate that that's how it has to be right now. But again, the thing I would think is look to see if more schools are like struggling to fill their schedules, which from the sounds of it with the realignment in the LL League is not the case right now and won't be for the foreseeable future because these things go in cycles. So I think this is absolutely a case right now where the Berks League needs isn't the right term, but would benefit more from this right now than the LL League in general. So while the small schools and the big schools may want it, they don't necessarily need it. Does that make sense?
Right. I get you.
Whereas
I
if there was more that needed it, then that starts to become an issue for the teams that just don't want it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like Manheim Central, I'm using them just because, 1, let's face it, they have a lot of pool there, and 2, they're a perennial power.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking, if they don't want it, that's going to kind of dictate a lot of different things. But at the same time, it's one thing to not want it if other schools are going to need it to be able to fill their schedules and to keep the league up and running. So it would be fun to think about, but
it was a long shot to begin with.
Tap the brakes on that.
But
and our boy Mike Drago, he kind of did that right away too.
Yeah.
Like he was like, his first article was like, this thing is a long way from happening.
Well, I don't think anyone, even Jeff Reiner, who I think broke it, was ever like, this is happening. They were all like, this is on the table, was talked about, the odds of it happening are remote.
Right. So.
But things could change. I know, I think the what was thrown out was there by 2024. That's 6 years from now, but that makes more sense.
Yeah, but those decisions are going to be made in 2 or 3 years.
At least 2 years in advance, I'd say, at a minimum 18 months. But because of scheduling, you almost have to do it 2 to 2.5 or 3 years beforehand.
Right.
That's why 2021 never made sense to me, because that was in the middle of a 2-year cycle. Right. I felt like it either had to be 2020 or not.
This is a separate one, but that's also why it didn't make sense last year to throw in 0 week in the middle of nothing, just to throw it in February or March of the year you're gonna start implementing that. That didn't make any sense to make that change then. To not wait and give teams a chance to iron out their schedules, but so be it. And that's kind of ironed out now, so we're good to go, I guess. So.
I have the schedule up here now just because, people want to be reminded of it, especially because, like Justin said at the beginning of the show, the first game is 2 months from tonight. You see that August 24th date at Central Dauphin. The heat acclimatization period starts August 6th. Summer 3-a-day camp starts August 13th. The first scrimmage is that Saturday at Parkland. The next Friday, we're at Central Dauphin to kick off the season. You can see the rest, how it plays out there. But I do want to highlight there at the end, the last 2 weeks. Now, maybe it won't matter in the grand scheme of things, but I did want to change the dates and update it because I read an article from, I believe it was Mike Drago, and then talked to Coach Dons about it. And the way the playoffs set up, actually, District 3 will have a bye and will not play Thanksgiving weekend in the state tournament. I thought the state tournament, the state semis, would be Thanksgiving weekend with the championship the first day of December. That is incorrect. The state semis will be the first weekend in December. The state championships will be the second Saturday in December for 6A, meaning District 3 champ has a bye Thanksgiving weekend.
Dang.
Just wanted to make sure that was out there for people to know, since I had the dates incorrect at the time.
Extra practice day, right?
Right. Full practice on Thanksgiving now instead of
That's
abbreviated.
Right. That's right.
So, but you can kind of see there the October 5th game against Hempfield is starred. Remember, that is the Gridiron Classic, which will be played at First Energy Stadium. A very awesome event. I anticipate, hasn't been done in, I think, 30-some years.
No. I know my dad used to talk about going to the games.
I think
it was sounds pretty cool. So
through like 81 or 82 they played there. Wilson hasn't played there, if my research is correct, since 79. So it's been nearly 40 years since Wilson has played there. And it should be a lot of fun. Again, it's October 5th in Reading, hosting the Black Knights. We will have a T-shirt available to buy in about 2 months. So stay tuned for that. And speaking of spirit wear, the Tradition Club will be running their T-shirt fundraiser in about 3 weeks or so. I think it's starting on July 13th and will run till the end of July. I believe July 29th is the cutoff date, so it's a little more than 2 weeks. Not only will you be able to buy the Tradition Club fundraiser tee, there are also going to be 2 other designs available for purchase, one of which will be on Under Armour stuff. The other will be on your standard cotton things. There will also be quarter zip and full zip sweatshirts available, and a hat as well. So I'm working with Schuylkill Valley Sports on all of that. The designs were posted on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so you can check those out there. The winning design that will be on the majority of the items was Design F, which was a bulldog inside the outline of a football. Design A was very popular as well. But because of the uniqueness of Design D, which was the Welcome to Gursky item, was very popular with the former football players and coaches, the Welcome to Gursky will be available on the Under Armour tee and Under Armour sweatshirt. And then the Design F will be made available on a standard polycotton blend.
I picked F.
Polycotton blend. Short sleeve tee, long sleeve tee, regular sweatshirt. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I think that's what's going on the hat. But there'll be more info on that as we get closer. Again, that's July 13th. But another fundraiser really going on right now, one that many people have taken advantage of, although it's slowed down over the last month, is the game used jersey sale. So I have game used jerseys that the Bulldogs wore from 1991 all the way through 2011, variety of styles. Not all numbers were made available to me because they were no longer in the inventory, but a lot do still exist. You can contact me if you're looking for a specific style or number, or you can hop on bulldoghour.com and go to the merchandise page. There's a game used jersey area, and you can see what I have in the more recent styles, the 99 through 2011 ones. The 90s era ones I do not have on the website yet, but I do have a lot of those available. They're really not that expensive. The 90s era ones are $20 a piece, and then the more current ones, 2001 through 2011, are $35 a piece, and a lot of former players have been happy to get those in their hands, as you can see displayed here in the studio. I have taken full advantage of that, and I don't even have my favorite one that I wanted. I didn't have a frame for the red one yet, but it'll come. It'll eventually be up there.
I have no doubt it'll find its way.
It'll find its way up there. I mean, I have it. It's just not up there.
You know what? If it's not in the frame, you can wear it to the golf tournament next year. So I'm still not.
I'm gonna need to start working out a lot more if I want to be comfortable wearing that in public.
Okay. Actually, I think it would be better if you don't work out at all.
Go the other way.
Yeah. See how much of you can we fit in that old jersey?
So the Tradition Club's also having their annual event where they welcome back championship teams. This fall it'll be on September 7th, which is the game against Springford, and we're welcoming back 3 title teams: the fall of 1978, the fall of 1993, and the fall of 2008. So 40, 25, and 10-year anniversaries for those squads, and
The fact that it's a 10-year anniversary for the 2008 team.
Does that make you feel old?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So you can see the information there. It's also posted as an event on Facebook. I've shared the postcard invite all over Facebook. We've mailed out a ton of the invites already through physical mail. If you haven't gotten one, hopefully it's on its way. Or we don't have your address, so hit me up and let me know. And you can RSVP to Hallie Vaughn or myself via email. Again, that's Friday, September 7th. We'll welcome back former players and coaches from those 3 squads. They get into the game for free. They get recognized at halftime. We have some refreshments for them. And their family is invited to come as well. So it's a good time. We've done it the last 2 years. This will be our 3rd event. And we're working on a big one for our 4th event in 2019. So stay tuned for that.
That's when I know things are serious, when you start sending me messages and we start talking about things for the 2019 season.
I've been working on 2019 since February, so.
I know.
Or just want to remind everyone of a couple milestones that we mentioned 2 months ago, but we'll bring it up again here. We missed it at the end of last season, but the Wilson victory over Conestoga Valley on November 3rd was defensive back coach Brandon Abel's 125th win as a coach with the program. And defensive tackles coach Paul Covell is just 8 wins shy of his 100th W on the staff. If my calculations are right, he's got 92 to start this season. Is there anything...
That just reminds me of, when I see that, I'm like, things again that I am 100% certain that Coach Covell has no idea.
Yeah. Well, we got to celebrate with Coach Doms a couple times over the last few years. One was before the Bulldog Hour came back when he won his 100th as head coach at Conestoga Valley at the end of 2014. But then he won as a coach with the program number 400 last year, which was really cool. But I believe I know Matt Bender, we told about his 200th that he had no idea.
Yeah. No.
But he was really, was really stoked
that's
to hear.
Kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, and I think, I don't know if
like we said, we bring this up a lot more in the shows in the season. Obviously, to get a win milestone, it has to be a win. But there are times we try to do our best and really kind of read the situation and know when it's best for us to just kind of stand over at the side. Right?
Yeah.
And most of the times after a win, it's perfectly fine to kind of go over and we, have a lot, that we kind of want to just ask about and, and try and get some interviews and things like that. And that's a lot of fun. But yeah, so like getting to ask them things like that or tell them things like that is pretty cool, especially, 400 for Doms. I know some people knew that was coming up, obviously, but, some of the, like when we tell, Coach Bender that was win 200, like a lot of times they don't know, and that's kind of cool getting those big numbers. You can see like they downplay it a lot too, and I get it. Like that's they got their mind on other things, but they are usually like, oh, that's when it's a big number. That you can get that genuine reaction sometimes. It's pretty cool.
We may have talked about this on episode 1 2 months ago, or we may have just talked about this because what we're doing now is not that different than what we do on a normal day.
No, we do this all the time.
That's why we also have our other show, the Joe Mays and J-Raff show, because we were always talking sports, usually pro football, baseball, hockey, now basketball a little bit more. We were doing that anyway, so why not record it and put it out there for anyone?
Hey, do you want to come over and sit down and talk about this stuff?
Right,
yeah, sure.
And let other people...
It's a lot. And people might be like, how about that time? And yes, like I don't want to downplay the time that you put into this. Like I'm not doing that at all. But I'm like, it's actually a lot quicker for me to come and talk to Joey about these things than it is for us to text this out to each other all the time. So,
and wait for a response.
Right, exactly. It's such a hassle.
Yeah, it is. Living the rest of our lives is so tough. Yeah. But what I was going to say is, I may have said this already, but I'm going to say it again. I sat down with Coach Bender in March to discuss what I could do about the spiritware sale for the fans and community that aren't a part of the team, don't have access to Wilson football merchandise. And we were talking about, and the milestone came up, talking about him winning 200 this past season. And he said, he's like, it's crazy to think that he's at 200 wins, not games, wins as a coach. Because 2017 was his 20th season as a coach. He started in 1998. So he's at his 20th anniversary here, ready to embark on season 21. And through 20 years, he's won over 200 games.
He's won more games than you're scheduled for every year.
It doesn't take a math whiz to figure out. He's averaging over 10 wins a season since being a coach.
That's absurd.
I can't say that there's a lot of programs in the state, maybe the nation, that can say that.
No.
Because you have top talent teams that are always ranked higher than Wilson, but for the longevity and the consistency, I'd put Wilson up there with the best of the best.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild.
So, I think that's it for the milestones for now. I'm sure something will pop up, but that's all we wanted to touch on. Before we go, I do want to send another special thanks to my buddy Jake Damon, the designer, illustrator, and artist who has helped me a lot this winter, spring, and summer, getting things together, redesigning the Bulldog Hour logo, working on a lot of Wilson football things. You've seen them probably more than you even imagine, because a lot of the artwork that I'm using has been commissioned from Jake, including the ones that are going on now, which is the countdowns. It was too much for me to do what I did 3 years ago. I still can't believe I did what I did 3 years ago because, well, it was coincided with the birth of my second daughter.
See, a couple of these remind me, so I'll see, Coach Bender or something on a fairly regular basis, actually an extremely regular basis. And, sometimes those guys, like him or Coach Wolb, or just lots of them will say to me, they're like, man, they're like, Mays really does a lot of this stuff. And every time I'm like, that's just the tip of the iceberg, man. He is not always, because that, I don't want to make it sound like you have all this time to do this stuff. You, the stuff you put together is awesome for being able to get these things, reaching out to Jake so he can do these things. But yeah, that 100-day thing, wow,
yeah,
that was nuts.
I would love to do something like that again, but man, it was a lot of work.
Hey,
that was months of work.
Next year's only 75, so.
Yeah, well, I did. Next year is the 75th season, and 2020 is the 75th anniversary. Let's not get into that conversation again, because it just boggles my mind how you. I mean, it is tough on the surface that you have to explain the difference between the two, but
does it really boggle your mind?
No, it doesn't. There's a difference between
that's a different discussion.
Season and years and anniversaries. It's like birthdays, whatever. Let's not get into that. That's a huge tangent I don't want to get into. But anyways, 2019, the season is the 75th season. 2020 is the 75th anniversary. 1945 to 2020 is 75 years. You got to count the first season is 1945. So you're already at 1 in 1945. You're not at 1 in 1946. You're at 2 in 1946. That's why there's 75 seasons in 2019 and the 75th anniversary in 2020.
Yeah, aren't you glad you probably only have to explain that to probably at
well,
least a dozen more people?
It came up the first time 3 years ago in 2015 when I ran the shirt through the Tradition Club, the first Tradition Club shirt fundraiser, because I had designed it for the year before but never got to do it. And I had done it as the 70th season. But because I didn't get to do it, I just changed it to 70th anniversary and was able to do the shirt anyways. And I really like that shirt because I like having all the different title teams on the back, the undefeated seasons, the league championship, the district championships, all that kind of stuff. I love having that in number form on the back. And then we redid it last year. We did title teams revisited, and we were able to add 2016 teams to that. But anyways, huge tangent there. The countdown in 2015 was so much work. I didn't do anything in 16 or 17. I wanted to do something this year, and I thought it would be cool to commission Jake to get some things. And obviously, I couldn't get one for every day.
Right.
So I picked out the major
ones.
Can
you make me 100
So
of these?
The 100-day one came from the thing I had to make. I literally asked him the day before to make me the May the 4th Be With You.
So, yeah.
Which was the Coach Dom's one, and then he changed that to the 100 days one. I got the 75-day one, which was posted a couple weeks ago. The 50-day one will come out on July 5th.
Hey, there we go.
So he is going to be working on that one. If he hasn't started, he'll be working on that one soon. I'm not going to spoil it. We'll wait till it comes out to see what it is. It'll be like the 75-day one, so you're going to get 2 players. But we'll leave that in your minds for now, and you'll find out in a few weeks. And then we'll have one at 25. And I think that's the last one because I have him working on some other things for me for past, present, future, everything in between. So thanks to Jake for helping me out with that. I think he's done a really great job. I love the stylization and the font that he's using, and obviously the Wilson football logo there for 2018 he designed as well. So he's really done a cool job, and I appreciate everything he's done for me over the last few months. But I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything else you want to mention?
One quick thing. I know we've mentioned him some on our other show, but there is a tie-in to the Wilson part here. Kyle Krabs,
yes.
I believe, is his thing there with NDT scouting is kind of coming
to an end.
To an end in a good way.
Yeah.
And I believe when I read like the letter that he kind of posted, or the statement, like I think he got a full-time like paid position as a scout now.
Yeah,
so,
he's been a little mysterious about it. I don't know if he's not allowed to really talk about specifics.
I'm guessing it's still it's still working itself out, but good luck to him. And
for sure.
I know there's been some dialogue there, especially when we talk about the Wilson guys. So it's kind of cool to see another Wilson guy kind of continuing with his football dreams there, even in maybe a little less of the conventional method. But good luck to him.
He started NDT scouting 5 years ago. It came a long way. He has thousands upon thousands of followers on Twitter. Very active on there, and the NFL Draft Twitter. He will continue to do his podcast, Draft Dudes. He's actually was a guest on our other show, our sports show. He's talked NFL Draft with us on there. He played 10, 12, 13 years ago on the Wilson teams in the mid-2000s. And, I'm excited. I'm waiting to hear where he's going, what he'll be doing, what region he'll be in, and what – I couldn't tell if it was NFL or college.
I know, I couldn't tell either,
Tough. So hopefully he can announce it in the next month or so. It'll be really, really cool to see what he's going to do. And speaking of former players doing some big things in the football world, Rodney Hill at UCF posted a picture of him during spring or summer workouts. Awesome. He's, I believe, still in the strength and conditioning. He's bounced all over the place.
Going to defend that national championship, right?
That's right. So, really cool things from some Wilson football alumni.
Yeah, that's good. Good for him. Speaking of the 2018.
Yeah, there you go. So I know a couple of the 2008 guys have said that they're going to come to the event the Tradition Club's hosting on September 7th. If you are a player or know a player from the 78, 93, or 2008 teams, please let them know that we're doing this, organizing basically a football-only reunion for them to come back and celebrate with their teammates, see fans, watch the 2018 team, just have a good time at Gursky Stadium. Share the postcard, get me their physical address. I will mail them a postcard, save the date, or invite them to like the Facebook pages, join the Tradition Club, all that good stuff, because we want to get as many people back to be recognized as possible. And last thing, because I just mentioned it, join the Tradition Club. That helps the football program as well. All that money goes to improve the football program, be it equipment, usually on the technical side, or an actual player's post-graduation scholarship, or to fund player trips to camps and things like that. Yeah. There's a variety of things that the money goes towards, and every dollar is tax deductible, and you can make those donations to the Tradition Club by joining the Tradition Club for as little as $25 as an individual member. You get a variety of perks, including weekly updates on the email lister from Coach Doms, and the annual history and stats book, which I always love to get, and a few other things as well. And if you are a member of Tradition Club, and would like to join us, we have our next meeting on Thursday, July 12th. So lots of things happening as we race towards kickoff, which is in 2 months.
Crazy. It should be fun.
It should be fun. We're looking forward to it. Like I said, we'll be back for episode 3 sometime in very early August. We'll have probably episodes back-to-back and back-to-back weeks talking with the coaches and the players, because by then this practice will have started or almost have started by the time we broadcast those.
Yeah.
So,
that's nuts. So.
Yeah. I think that's everything we have for you. So on behalf of the Wilson football program, I'm Joe Mays. This is Justin Raffoff. Give a wave. Show them you're alive.
That the video didn't freeze.
Right. Until next time, we'll see you in a few weeks. But remember, go Bulldogs.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Bulldog Hour. Want more Wilson football? Follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. Or visit www.bulldoghour.com. The Bulldog Hour is a featured program on jmnjrradio.com.